Hello! This is the Holiday Enthusiast back at you today to teach you how to make a sugar skull! Yeah, 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 yeah! Woo! Everyone loves sugar skulls. Ooh la la! These fancy creatures are used to celebrate El Dia de los Muertos, which is my equivalent of All Saints Day, a day to honor and remember the dead and those who have left us and moved on to hopefully wonderful and greater pastures. It's a really special holiday, and you can celebrate by making your face look like this. I really like to do the color variations on this one. It is really fun for the doodler in you. So I don't know if you know, but I really like to doodle. So anyway, if you love to doodle, all you do is do it symmetrically. So if you'll notice on this skull how, you know, this eyebrow is shaped with this curve, and it is the symmetrical curve. The sun on the top of the head is symmetrical. The heart is an easy symmetrical shape that most girls are pretty well versed in from the time that they're little. There is a swirl on this side of his head and a swirl on that side of his head. Very same thing over here. Yeah, and there's usually this floral shape on the eyes. That's tricky to do. You need a nice thin paintbrush. And then up here, you also, the flowers have this nice swirl to it. My face that I'm going to go for is a little bit more like this. And then you can fill in the teeth. I chose not to. I will be doing just kind of like, you know, the Joker sort of lines with the teeth grid, and then going to have just the regular lips because I think it looks better on me personally. If I were going to do a zombie, I would definitely go for the individual teeth. And sometimes it does look really cool to see those individual teeth. So if you're feeling daring and detail oriented, go ahead and go for the teeth. Anyway, how are you doing? Are you ready? Okay, I'm ready too. Let's paint a sugar skull. Okay, so once again, I'm using that Snazaroo paint, and I'm going across my entire face with white. I like to use that sponge for full coverage. I used a primer before that to make sure that it stayed well and tried to distribute it evenly. So your next step is to go ahead and add the eye color. I chose blue, and I tried just for some full coverage there. I'll go in later and do some shading. I then went across my chin and started with a flower, and since I had the pink on my brush already, I went ahead and added the pink to my lips. I was going for a heart shape with an explosion around it on my forehead, so I went with that, and then out of that I'm having some small explosions that will actually turn into small flowers in the end. Go ahead and go in a V shape on my forehead. I added a pink flower to each eye. I'm just trying to incorporate all the colors. I then went back in with the blue and added it to my nose. Then I went in with the dark blue while I had it on the paintbrush and started doing the shadowing around my eyes to darken the ends of the circles. I added some blue in around my chin, and then I'm going for a spiderwebbing look across the center of my forehead and on either side of my eye. So I'm drawing just a basic triangle that kind of fans out. Again, I go and touch back up all of that blue so that I have a nice opaque look to the blue. I grabbed some green and I added some leaves to my flowers. So just pressing the ends of the paintbrush onto the flower, I go ahead and make those leaves, and I'm filling in the spots in between the pink so I have a nice even look. I added some leaves on the sides of my eyes on the flowers as well. Good. From there, I'm going to take the black and I'm going to circle around my eyes. I want to blend that ever so slightly, so I'll go back in. And then I'm going to do the lines for my spider web. So I do the straight lines fanning outward, and then I do the little swoops in to make that spider web to look. I did that on a pumpkin last month, so I was pretty well versed in that. If you want to practice doodling that on a piece of paper first, it could be easier. On my nose, I wanted that dark skull look, so I went ahead and filled in the top of what I had done. And then I took more spider webbing down because I enjoyed the way that looked. Then off the sides of my mouth, I draw some lines, and then I draw some vertical lines coming downward across my lips and along the sides to go for that stitched look. I filled in a heart on my forehead, and then I filled in the centers of my flowers and added some shadowing in on my leaves. It's a nice quick look. I took my fine Snazaroo paintbrush and drew some polka dots around the eyes. I did do a different one last week where I did the flowered look around the eyes, and it was a little tricky for me. So this time I was going for a rhinestone look, which you'll see later. And then taking in some white, I drew the white underneath my eyes to highlight that look a little bit, and then I went in with a sponge and blended it. And then I decided that I needed a little bit more color. So I took the yellow and I blended the yellow with the green. So I had a greenish yellowish look and added in spots of that. Remember that if you do add it on the left, that you should complement that on the right as well. Then I just went back in and did some light shadows with the white on the spider webbing so that it had kind of a three-dimensional look, which was cool. I added a little bit of white on my lips and then a touch of white on the nose. That two-toned color really does give some depth to your painting, so I do encourage you to add that. I then went across my eyelids and kind of did what you would do if you were doing cat eye eyeliner, but I did it with the Snazaroo paint because it blends better with the other Snazaroo paint that was already on my eyes. And then I went across my lips with a darker color to try to darken up my lips a little bit. And added the little detailing of the teardrops coming out or the flower petals, and added the yellow in there because I kind of decided I needed a pop of color. I would encourage you to explore and try different things in different variations. I used that Snazaroo paint and I just did a design, just trying to make it symmetrical. The best part about it is that you just get to doodle. So I don't know if you're like me, but I'm definitely a doodler. I also stopped by our Salvation Army and got this shirt. So nice and festive. They had a couple of options. And then I also picked up this necklace. Seems very Dia de los Muertos here. So this little piece was $2.99. Hobby Lobby. Yeah, that's what's up. So when I think of Hobby Lobby, I always go, Hobby Lobby, this is Bobby. Do y'all watch the Bobby Bones show? It's thebomb.com. And if you're not pimping joy, you should be. Anyway, so the last step in painting your face for Dia de los Muertos is to go ahead and add these rhinestones. So I just got this small package of rhinestones. Again, I got this at Hobby Lobby. It was $3. And then I used some lash grip, which is just eyelash adhesive. I also added in the fake eyelashes because it was easy. And anyway, so this is my Dia de los Muertos makeup. Hopefully you enjoy it. Oh, and I got these also at Michael's and then out of my drawer, and I already had this one. So going for that full look. So